What's going on, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of the Work in Progress After Dark podcast. Normally, our shows are Saturday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. However, we're doing a special show tonight because of the news that broke today with the judge rejecting the request for a preliminary injunction by the FTC to block the Activision Blizzard Xbox merger. So I've got Jeremiah here, and I believe that we are going to also be joined by uh, Stevie from Dip Down Games. I think he might have been having some technical difficulties when joining, because he did join for a second there. Let's see if he sent me anything. Let me see if he sent anything. I don't think he has. There he is. All right, so we have Stevie right here. All right.
All right, I can hear
Okay,
you.
cool.
What's up?
What's going on, man?
is will KPG Jeremiah, definitely move your mic forward.
Okay.
I can hear myself. So will KP be joining us?
I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
My little short notice.
We'll wait and see. I know that Isaac from Dudeless Chat will also be joining. In the meantime, what we'll do is, since we're going to be talking about games tonight, I always like to start with, whether it be with games or anime. I always like to start, if we're talking about games, I like to ask everybody what they've been playing lately. And Stevie, you're a special guest, so we're going to start with you. What have you been playing recently?
Man, not too much. I'll be honest. I think I tried a little bit of Ravenlock.
Okay.
Finally. So I got dabbled with that a little bit. Diablo, of course, Diablo 4. First time jumping into Diablo, so I really didn't know what to expect. But man, Amber and I were having a blast, having a great time playing it. So that'd probably be the main stuff right now.
Nice. Jeremiah, how about yourself?
You know me, just like him, playing Diablo 4 with my wife. We've been having a good time. Obviously, you came along with me in one run. I've been playing with Casey a lot. If he was here, we're all having fun with that. And other than that, I just finished beating Skull. Now I'm considering starting it on the PC so I can start streaming it, because I think if there is a roguelike that people should get into, I think it's Skull.
Nice.
So,
and then as for myself, I'm in between games. I beat Final Fantasy 16 the other day. So I did that. I think it took me 71 hours to beat it. It's a long game, but I did everything. I did everything that was in the game that I could do in a single run. And then, so I'll be moving back to Diablo 4 to beat that. So that way I can finally take a break from new games until Starfield and get caught up on some other stuff. But yeah, so it's a special day. It's a special day for gaming, whether you agree with it or not. And I've just decided, since it's sort of we have even numbers here, I'm going to bring myself down here, because I'm going to sort of mediate a conversation between someone who supports it and someone who doesn't. And I will, and although I don't particularly support it, I will be as neutral as possible when having this conversation, because I do believe that there are good and bad things about it. But I'm going to let you guys sort of take it away. And Stevie, we'll start with you because you're a special guest. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. First of all, KP maybe join us actually, so
Okay.
I'll keep you posted on that. I'm feeling good though, man. I mean, I'm excited. First of all, I'm just excited for it to be over. I mean, I was getting
Amen. Oh my God.
I was getting to the point where I didn't care anymore. But I'm happy that it went one way as opposed to the other. Not so much because I am primarily Xbox. We pretty much have every console in the household for the most part. But it's just because I truly do feel that it is the better option for gamers. It's not so much like, we got this over you now. Hey, we got this exclusive now, or anything like that, or like I can rub in your face.
Mhm.
I truly do believe that this was the better move for the consumer. And ultimately, the consumer I felt won today.
Okay, Jeremiah, how about you? How about you? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I have to agree. I am glad it's over. This has taken way too long. There's way too much going on. After the first day, I think we all knew the FTC is just not good at fighting big tech companies.
Yeah.
Um, I don't necessarily agree with the ABK stuff, but as I was telling you earlier, Brent, I do understand why they won. It's definitely the reason is
Mhm.
well rooted. Like they did not have a good argument for their stuff. This definitely came down to more of a Sony versus Microsoft bloodbath, if you will, in terms of coverage, in terms of what everybody's pushing to it. And the fact is, there wasn't a strong enough case to
Mhm.
support the injunction.
Sure.
So I mean, for me, it's like, I'm still worried about it. I worry as a gamer, but like I said, I'm glad it's over. I'm glad we can start focusing on something else,
Right.
even if
The
it's
next
just
big
the date.
acquisition from whoever. I
Mhm.
actually saw an interesting comment on Twitter earlier from one of the very many gaming reporters on there. He was actually, I don't remember what his name is, but I do see his stuff come across on occasion, and he's fairly neutral in his reporting. But he said the console wars are over. Get ready for the great acquisition wars, because if a if something this big can go through, then what's stopping companies from smaller purchases? What are your guys' thought on something like that, Stevie?
I mean, this has kind of been happening now for a little while now. I know not to the same magnitude of this, of course, but like not too many people have the pockets, have the bag
Mhm.
that Microsoft does. Um, so I mean, if this is, I mean, look at it. What is it? Oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Endeavor? No, not Endeavor. Gosh, what's the name of the company that has like 100 plus game studios under it?
Embracer.
Embracer. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I just where's that call out for something like that? That's been going on
Mhm.
for years now at this point. I just think I don't know. I feel like the Xbox are like the Dallas Cowboys. The people just love to hate them.
I think in that regard, I think the issue is that Xbox is a major console producer, and
In third
the
place.
they put themselves there. Come on,
Yeah.
like they put themselves there. Um, uh,
You're supposed to be. I thought you're supposed to be neutral, bro. What
yeah,
happened?
but I had to say that
What's going on?
they put themselves there. Um,
But that's not the point I'm making, though. I'm just saying, like, why are we worried about third place so much? I
I
mean, why
I
was
think.
Sony so considered? They're in first. They're the number one.
Mhm.
Why are they looking back in the race? They're looking at third place, worried about third place.
So I think the issue is because Xbox produces the systems that these games will go on,
Mhm.
and they can very they I know that they're planning on doing 10-year deals, but like, come on, in 10 years, those games will become first party when those deals expire. Like, they would be fools not to make them first party exclusives when those deals expire. I'm surprised they're not doing it now.
I truly think they should stand behind their movement. They're just trying to have more games and more places for more people.
Hmm.
I don't think it's an exclusivity move. I really don't. So I think that Microsoft's gonna stay true to. I mean, I know it's just a one-off example, but you have like Steam, for
Hmm.
example, and they talked about in the case, they said like Steam kind of stood by Microsoft, said, "Hey, look, we don't need to sign a 10-year deal. We just trust you guys that you're making the right move
Hmm.
for the people." And
Okay.
they're also trying to stop certain monopolies, or what is I learned a new word during this case, biopoly or something like that.
Never
With
heard of that.
two major companies. You have Google, you have Apple controlling, the mobile realm. So they're trying to,
And no one else can come into the sphere. It's like even
mhm,
though it's not a monopoly of one, it's a biopoly. So
yeah,
the fact that it's kind of like back in the day when it was AT&T and Verizon. It's like, yeah, there might be these smaller companies, but it's these two. and there's a possibility these two are ran by the same person. Same thing with like, not the same with Sony and Microsoft. Obviously, it feels like there's a lot of animosity one way and the other,
Mhm.
But I do, yeah, like I don't think it is though, because that was the whole point that Sony was trying to push. That was a biopoly. It's between themselves and Xbox, and no one else matters.
Mhm.
Which would have helped the case. But Nintendo still exists, and it's always a contender for the first place spot.
Well,
Mhm.
But
the
Triopoly, like
the issue with Nintendo is that they're a generation behind right now, and
it's not really an issue to Nintendo. I'd say we've talked about like that's actually in our platform preferences where we talk about like they didn't really need to jump into the next gen. Like a lot of their revenue, a lot of things they focus on is their nostalgic retro games that they
Mhm.
either build upon to make new content or they bring the old content. Like in this case, where they're bringing emulators to their Switch. So I will respect they didn't jump into it. But you can't cut them out either just because they're not in Gen 9, which was, of course, a main point of the argument the first day for this whole thing, was it's not about Nintendo, it's about Sony. It's like, but Nintendo's a big player. Like you have to respect that Nintendo's a big player, and that did hurt the case.
sure,
That's all, especially why they wanted to try to push that paradigm that Gen 9 consoles are high performance, and that excludes them, which upset everyone in the community except for Nintendo, who was just kind of like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
We have,
I'm
we
going to
have
make another
nothing to do
Mario
over
game.
there.
We're good.
well,
But I
Yeah.
do think
Nintendo will need to up their game with a console that can actually hold 200 gigs to play COD.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
I
do
just
worry about that.
I
That's
think it's just a little silly to say that, like Nintendo is not a competitor just because, they're not Gen 9. Or they're a SKU. They're a SKU that goes up against another SKU, right? So when someone
Mhm.
walks into the store, they make a conscious decision, what SKU am I going to purchase? And since they have a direct correlation, competition between Sony and Microsoft, that is a viable option for someone to walk out of a store and not get an Xbox because they got a Nintendo Switch instead. So they
That's
are a
fair.
competition.
Sure, that's fair.
that was actually part of Phil Spencer's statement is that they request because again I'm going off first day. First day they brought up that his quarterly reviews or no his monthly reviews only showcase Sony versus Xbox in a lot of their sales. And he came back, he's like, well, here's my weekly reviews where I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at Nintendo is there along with like other platforms themselves, like Steam and stuff. He's like, because the way I see it, when someone walks into a store, if they're thinking, hey, I'm going to get a console, I want to play a game, I want to play a console, everybody's a competitor because most people, the common person, is only walking in to buy one console if they are. And so they've got to pick between Switch, Xbox, or PlayStation, or
Correct.
PC, of course. But so no, that actually was a part of his argument. Like again, I have no, like from a very just I guess legal standpoint, I liked he was like but I get it. That's a great, they made a great argument. FTC is kind of failing here. Um, and the witnesses they wanted didn't show up. The, it got punched. No, I love stuff like that though, because it's like, nope, they did it right though. Microsoft defended themselves, and of course the FTC dropped the ball there. But
Mhm.
but Phil Spencer, especially on that day, I feel really pointed out. It's like this is why we consider Nintendo in this whole like fight here because it is a competition of pricing. I still like I said I still don't agree with this acquisition, and that's more from it's more from the long term.
Mhm.
There were a bunch of major points that were concerning, but like has been brought up, the concern about okay, games are going to become exclusive, they're going to wall off everything. Well, they've made contracts for 10 years, which is a viable time as has been shown for Sony to find their own alternative to Call of Duty or make one. It's 10 years. That's a decade. In 10 years' time, we can't even say it's still going to be viable since we're already into kind of year 15, 16 of it being hot.
Right.
Like there's all these statements. But my concern with the acquisition isn't necessarily in what they're focusing on with Activision. And even Blizzard, and I've told you this before,
Mhm.
it's the king. It's what they've already proven in this case that their focus is. Their focus is the mobile and cloud gaming aspect, which a lot of people keep overlooking. King is 95% of the mobile gaming. They've been buying up a bunch of different cloud gaming services. They've even stated in the emails that they had, which I feel like you have to take and you have to try and do a little bit of context through and kind of try to assume what was before and after. What it seemed to me they were trying to say was, we're going to try to outspend Sony to break into this because Google and Amazon are already doing so well. I feel like by that point they are going to route all their stuff to this, and their ultimate goal is to get Game Pass everywhere, with also these control of these games, like for Activision, for Bethesda, all these different things they would like to put onto there. And it's a company that does not have a good track record of producing good games or backing their companies. Everyone can change, but they haven't showcased any of this. So there's a lot of my concern comes from the shaky foundation we're starting on. I love Xbox. I play Xbox. I mean, that's my main mode of play. When they got Bethesda, I was like, okay, do your thing.
I honestly think Bethesda was a very smart purchase. Isaac, you haven't. Isaac, you haven't. You have an invite in your Discord.
Starfield would be exclusive right now, or potentially exclusive to PlayStation.
First, before I say something, Gamer Critics in the chat, thank you for coming here. And I know that you say you don't discriminate and you love all three, but you're a liar. We all know that you shill for Xbox. And then Pixie Ninja, that's Amber, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. And Isaac should be joining us soon. No, I'm just kidding. Jalen knows that I'm kidding, or am I? But honestly, I think that I like, despite what I read about how oh Jesus, change your name before I bring you in here. I'm not bringing you in here with that name. Change your name.
What was his name?
Right. Ryan's daddy.
But
howdy. I've come for blood.
So my issue, I'm a big supporter. I do support Microsoft's decision to buy Bethesda ZeniMax. However, what was revealed in the emails about how they bought it to prevent PlayStation exclusivity, if PlayStation had done that, heads would be rolling, and I think that there's a double standard occurring there. If they had
I mean, that was in the works, though, right? That was in the works. That was my understanding of the documentation. Is that was in the works to make that happen.
They were trying to make Starfield an exclusive, which is why they came in and then made that exclusive. But it's hard to say. It's kind of like the chicken and the egg here. Was that Xbox's intent all along to make the next stuff exclusive, or are they saying, well, they were going to do it first, so we did it? It's hard to gauge that because then it's intent. Ultimately, it's business moves. And them taking Bethesda and making Starfield and Redfall and stuff exclusive and Hi-Fi Rush and stuff like that, that was a smart move, The problem is that they were saying they were going to try, they pushed an inclusivity push for it.
An
inclusivity and then did
narrative.
Which does diminish then it's their credibility. It's okay, so you said you want to do this. And it's kind of like telling half truths here. You said it, and then when we call you out on it when you do, it's oh well, we made sure that the old stuff is still good. It's I see what you did there. Omission of the truth is a lie. But it's business. I can't get on business for doing business moves.
Sure.
The biggest thing is, like I said, my concern with this whole ABK thing is what they're trying to break into and their track record so far on what they do and produce, So far this year, Hi-Fi Rush is probably the best thing that Microsoft has done. Great game. Love the game. But Microsoft also had little to no backing into that game. That literally was a passion project, And on the games where they are backing, like Starfield and stuff, there's a lot of high criticism for it. There's a lot of concern for it. For games they should have been backing, like Redfall, that they were hyping up and stuff, they didn't at all. So it's kind of they're saying, hey, we're going to reallocate resource. We're going to try and do this better. would you trust someone who has already shown they're failing and stuff after they say, we're sorry, we're going to do it better with something as big as this acquisition? That's where my concern comes into play. Blizzard needs a lot of TLC right now with their management. Activision's it's grown stale. It's literally the Starbucks. It's literally the mocha frat for gamers.
I saw
it's
a
like,
tweet
what
today.
news is going to come out?
I saw a tweet today saying that Bobby Kotick is going to pocket $400 million from this acquisition.
Get him
Golden
out of there.
parachute.
Get him out of there. Golden parachute, but get him out of there.
Oh, Jalen said BS. Oh, what did I say wrong, buddy?
No, he's talking to me. Isaac, how's it going, dude?
I'm phenomenal right now. See, I'm not gonna come in with a level head, I'm super petty right now. I am running laps right now. Because this botch and blow up in our faces, possibly. But you know what? I don't care. You know what? Fuck Sony. Sorry, I don't know if I can say that.
Oh, hey, spicy take.
Damn. This was a children's show. Now we got to be PG-13.
Sorry. I'm just feeling myself. I'm just feeling myself. I'm just happy. Phil Ryan. Not Phil Ryan. I'm looking at my own name now.
Oh, Ryan.
Jim Ryan can't even show up to his own argument.
All right, we got we got another member from the Dip Down Games Cast. We got KP here. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. We got a big crew here. We're gonna let Isaac continue with his petty rant before we move on to.
All I want to say is, I'm gonna keep it simple. Here's all I'm gonna say. Okay. I don't like Jim Ryan, and honestly, I told Juice this a while back. Sony would be in a better place, in my humble opinion, if they had Phil Spencer over Jim Ryan.
Oh, come on. Phil Spencer hasn't done jack shit in 10 years except make
what has
big
Phil
purchases.
Ryan done?
Phil Spencer hasn't done shit.
No slander.
Hey, Phil Ryan.
Well, he's over here slandering Jim Ryan, but Phil Spencer hasn't done anything except like 5 big studios. He hasn't. He's failed all of his first-party studios. Halo Infinite is trash right now. I agree. And Phil Spencer is as big of a liar as Jim Ryan is, if not a bigger liar.
Hey, you may be right, but you know what? I'd have a beer with Phil, though.
Listen, no. We are now about to run my man Phil Spencer's name through the mud. The man that single-handedly saved Xbox. Xbox would be gone. There would be a third-party studio. There would be no Xbox.
I didn't want to say, what has Phil Ryan done? I'm not Phil Ryan. Fucking Jim Ryan.
You need to change your name. Bro, you need to change your name. You're getting confused.
He said Phil Ryan.
What has Jim Ryan done outside of writing coattails? Like, what has he done?
Except snitch.
Because the PS4, that wasn't his success, and the PS5 is carrying off that momentum from the PS4. So what has Jim actually done outside of lying to his peeps? And raising prices.
What is a lie that he said, and I can counter it with a lie that Phil Spencer has said.
Oh, I can. Dude, there's plenty of lies.
That's not a really good argument tactic. Like arguing lies for lies. It's business. Lies happen all the time.
They all lie.
But they're both figureheads. Jim Ryan, and we had that conversation once before. Jim Ryan doesn't really do anything for the company besides sit there and say mildly racist and inappropriate things sometimes. But like he makes statements that he doesn't usually back off on. Phil Spencer is the face of Microsoft, and he gets that because he keeps connection with his community. And I've told you that, like we've had our conversation on that. Phil Spencer gets his credit for being that face that's willing to take the fall. He apologizes for Xbox when they mess up, which has been an apology every year so far, But he gets away with it because he is a very big people person, very charismatic, People relate to him. He's a relatable person because he's a gamer of the people, and Jim Ryan isn't seen as such. I
don't see Jim Ryan take pictures with people.
But Jim Ryan is over a company that produces, and he does make statements. He doesn't backtrack on them, so he doesn't apologize, but he also doesn't backtrack on what he says. They both are figureheads that do things a little differently. We're just arguing two people that are getting paid a lot of money to go in front of cameras. Right. Jim Ryan did not get down there and make God of War. He didn't do anything about the production. And Phil Spencer did nothing for Hi-Fi Rush or Arcane from what they've said. But I'm saying like whether it did good or bad, the only thing they're making is the decision on how to allocate the money. Like on big decisions, but they have boards for that. They're
Mhm.
just the faces.
Sure.
At this point, we're arguing the owners of teams.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just
I don't mean to interrupt you, Jeremiah. KP, thank you for being
Yeah.
here and
good. I'm talking.
welcome.
Yo, thanks for
uh,
having me.
Absolutely, anytime. So, what? Let's kind of bring it back in. It got intense there. How are you doing today? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? Where are you at?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good today. Hope you all are doing the same. It was a great day today. Gaming wise, I'm pretty ecstatic about what's happening.
Sure.
If anybody knows me, I'm a big COD fan, and my favorite COD studio is Infinity Ward. So I'm super happy that they'll get to do more things than just COD.
Mhm.
100%.
So I'm a big fan of the studios being opened up and not in the Call of Duty salt mines, because every studio Activision had were all forced to work on Call of Duty. So now these other ones, maybe they can get back to making different games like they had in the
Well,
mid 2000s.
I mean, I would hope so, but
Yeah,
my comment on that is my concern is that they will continue to just produce COD the way that Microsoft is sitting on a trove of excellent IPs that they haven't revived. And there was a comment that was made last week that was like, are you that like out of touch with what's going on? The developers at Rare say that like there isn't a market for Banjo-Kazooie, and that is one of the most absurd things I've ever heard ever, because I know tons of people who would play Banjo-Kazooie if
yeah,
Microsoft and Rare decided to revive it. So I do hope that some of the I mean, we would all love to see more Spyro, we would all love to see more Crash. A lot of people want to see a Prototype and Prototype 2
right.
reboot, remaster.
Mhm.
But so I do hope that these things will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And Rare they're in a weird stage where I know Microsoft lets them do what they want to do, and they don't like to touch nothing old no more. They like to create everything new. And
Mhm.
I understand from that point of view, but also you got fans like us. Redo GoldenEye. Give me another Banjo Kazooie. Give me Conquer. Give me
Oh,
Mhm.
Perfect
Conquer.
Dark. And
Conquer
they
would
don't
be
want to
perfect
touch
for
none of that
Conquer.
stuff they made.
Oh, well, Perfect Dark is apparently in development hell right now, so
Right.
we'll see what happens with that.
Down there with Fable.
Yes. Same. I mean, every game is in development hell. You can even
Yeah.
God of War was in development hell. You can see on the YouTube documentary at one point.
The first one,
Yeah,
right? The first one, yeah, the first one
18.
went.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So okay. um. Where do we go from here? Um. I don't even know where to go. That got really crazy there for a second.
No worries, man. No worries.
No worries.
Let's.
Like I say, I'll toss
Okay.
it out since I hear three people that are really really pushing it. And again, I do play Xbox. I like Xbox. Love Xbox. I play two consoles. I play that and I play Switch. But for this going forward, the ABK deal, you want to go forward. You are very hyped and excited for it. What excites you about them owning it? Like specific, like what is there something
That is a
that
good question.
Microsoft has
Yeah.
done that you're like, okay, they're going to focus on this, and this is why it's going to be good? Like you were just bringing up, they're going to open up to other IPs being able to do other things or focus on more
Right.
things. What makes you think that? Like, is it just a possibility, or is there something you're seeing? It's like, no, they've done this in the past. Like, this is what they're going to do.
Yeah, so from what we heard, we do know Infinity War, one of my favorite FPS studios, is making a sci-fi shooter.
Yeah.
So that's a game we know that's in the works. And I think Treyarch also has something too that's cooking up that's not Call of Duty. So I know those two games are coming, so I'm excited about those. So excuse my 8-bit ringtone. Sorry.
Yeah, the Duck Hunt.
Oh yeah, you know what it is. There you go. So with that, I'm excited about that. Other studios, like Toys for Bob, like who
Oh,
knows? They might want to make a Banjo Kazooie.
that
So
Banjo
we don't
Kazooie.
know. They might want to do Conquer. I mean, because they're excellent for those, platforming,
Mhm.
family playing games.
Well, Conquer
Um,
isn't very family friendly.
no, I mean, but
It
the
looks family
cartoony
friendly.
graphics, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay, yeah.
Yeah. Um, just with that, I mean, in Blizzard, those employees, because we all know they all talked about going on strike and walking out if they didn't get bought, and so a lot of jobs get saved, on the back end, and hopefully they get resolved all the other issues they had, especially with the lawsuit
Hmm.
with the workforce and all that. So I'm happy that they can get this all rectified and have a
If
better future and get more games.
if Phil Spencer can go
So
in
they're
there and get
already
Bobby,
branching out.
yeah. If
Yeah.
Phil Spencer can go in there and get Bobby Kotick out, it'll be a much better situation.
Oh,
Um,
he's
He
definitely
is.
going. He's
out.
definitely
Yeah,
going.
he definitely
They
out.
can't say it yet, but he's definitely going. He's getting his golden
I thought
parachute.
I thought they said
Well,
before the acquisition or during the acquisition that Phil Spencer's going to fill in as CEO for him. I think didn't they already mention that they're going to replace him? That he was going to get up out of there?
His picture was not on that leadership chart. So
I may
his
have
picture
just
wasn't in there. Yeah.
I may have just read an article that said that. Not sure about it. But yeah, no, he ain't going to be there, bro.
Yeah.
No, bro, that's bad for business, man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
He's
he's
definitely
done.
gonna go. I mean,
All the
if
stories
he's
and
selling
stuff.
it, he
Yeah.
ain't gonna stay.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah.
The only thing I'm hoping to see out of this, honestly, a lot of these developers, because they're all seasoned veterans,
Yeah.
I see them more as reinforcements for the initiative and
Oh.
Xboxers. You don't think so? I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like they
Yeah.
could use
No,
some of them.
I'm agreeing with you. Like I could
Oh,
see a lot of
yeah,
these games are gonna be like 2 studio joints. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
because like for instance, with Perfect Dark, that's in hell right now, and I'm sure they got some people over there in Activision or wherever, even fucking Raven. They may have some people that could swoop in there and help them
Yeah.
in development. So I mean, I see them more as coming in to smooth things out, put out some fires, and then continue to develop their own games if they like. But I feel like this is more of a reinforcement of veterans, bringing them in, and because they already have their leadership. And
Yes.
and the thing about Xbox is when they buy, I'm drawing a blank here.
Publisher studio.
Publishers, there you go,
Okay.
publishers. When they buy publishers, the whole thing is we just leave it alone. Like
Right.
you have access to our account. Whatever y'all do is what y'all do. So I'm
but
assuming
but is that actually a good thing?
yes. I mean, the leadership right now is
Yeah.
trash. So anything outside of that would be a
Yeah.
good thing, dude. 343 is garbage. They made me hate my favorite franchise.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
I like
He
it.
is.
I like
He,
the
is- he
Halo a lot.
definitely.
I mean,
He definitely is upset with 343 and what they've done.
I
I
think
mean,
that
I can see why. But
I
yeah.
I
Yeah.
know that I know that I have strong opinions about this, but Microsoft has the resources to go in, clean up, and then leave it alone. But I think I think that there needs to be some kind of higher up intervention at these big publishers, get management on track, and then back off. I think that what they need is management intervention right now, definitely. But then they can back off. So right now, is it a good idea to just let them go and do their own thing if the management is poor? Or is management poor at the executive level? That is another thing to think about. Where is the management breaking down to having all of these issues?
I think the top is pretty solid between Spencer and Sarah Bond, Matt Booty, and all them. I think now that things can start kind of wrapping up, we can start focusing and work on those tiers, work on that management, like you're
Right.
talking about, Brent. Now that this does, because this took everything, right? This took everything from the top execs that you're talking about, where now this is gonna kind of come to the end here. Let's start working internally now. Let's start, giving the support to these studios that we have now in house, and let's rework, reorg, whatever we need to do to make sure that everyone has a good work environment going forward now. So
Right.
I mean,
I wouldn't-
outside of Bobby, I wouldn't change nothing. I mean, because they're producing a Call of Duty every year.
Mhm.
If like management has to be pretty solid in order to produce a Call of Duty every year. And granted, you may not like the Call of Duties that come out; they can come out with their glitches, but they're still able to do it. So I think they're pretty solid all around. I mean, at this point, I'm sure if Phil Spencer's like, "Hey, y'all want to do something else?" They will jump at it at the
oh,
opportunity
100%.
and put
Right.
their passion into. I'm sure a lot of those people have ideas they want to explore, but they can't.
They ain't
Right.
Call
So
of
when
Duty
it-
hell.
So, but like I said, like the fact that they're able to produce a Call of Duty game every year, yeah, allegations and all these things bad that happen, that it sucks, but they were still able to produce. So there's something in there that's being done right. And that's what I wouldn't mess with. Like they're able to meet their deadlines, which, as everyone knows, Xbox struggles at meeting deadlines. So
Hey,
I
fair,
think
fair, fair.
so.
There's
I
some.
feel like there's nothing there I would change because they already got a good rhythm going. So if Phil could just implement that, like grab some of them and kind of rub them off on their own
Right.
developers, I think that's beneficial. So this is, yeah. If I'm Phil, I wouldn't mess with nothing outside of getting rid of this, outside of getting rid of Bobby, and then being like, "Yo, can you teach our guys a thing or two? Maybe we could catch us up to speed." And who knows? Like even some of those people that are lower levels may get higher positions to help, lead other projects because of their experience. So this is the
Mhm.
big win in my opinion. Like this, like I wouldn't if Phil's smart, don't mess with that.
And
Right.
just out of curiosity, when you talk about struggle at deadlines, are you mainly just talking about like Halo and Redfall?
Halo, Redfall, Starfield, like Xbox has not been good with deadlines, bro. And then if they did meet their deadline, the game was trash.
I mean, but Hi-Fi Rush, it met the deadline.
Well, no,
Yeah,
Hi-Fi
it met the
Rush was
deadline. It released that day.
dude, that was a shadow drop. All right, so I'm not gonna count that. I mean, I do love it. I love that game, but everything Phil Spence wanted to do and promised didn't happen. Like he couldn't meet his deadlines. Now you have all these developers that have experience in meeting deadlines, releasing a AAA project. So having them join your squad would be very beneficial.
I mean, you have Forza. Forza meets deadlines, right?
Yeah,
Age
but
of
racing
Empires.
games don't count.
Yeah.
I think the issue
Hey
is
now, hey now.
I
Gran
don't
Turismo,
agree with that, but what I'm saying is,
Michael
like, okay,
No,
Turismo.
I say
I'm
that
not,
I say that as a troll whenever someone brings up
Yeah,
racing
look,
games. I
I'm
say
not
that as a
saying-
troll whenever someone brings up racing games, fighting games, and sport games.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they miss every deadline, but as of late, that's been the trend for Xbox is missing deadlines.
I think it's Bethesda missing the deadlines, which
I
is
think
killing.
it's
Well,
Bethesda.
Yeah,
no, I mean, no,
but
it is
once
Bethesda,
Microsoft
but
bought,
that's,
but
yeah.
once Microsoft bought Bethesda and ZeniMax, they
No,
became
I agree with that, but I mean, they wouldn't have had the deadline issue currently if it went Bethesda would have met the deadline.
Oh, for sure. But I
Yeah.
mean, hey, dude, you buy the product, you're responsible for
Yeah.
the product. They delayed it to maybe polish it more. Maybe they had with those extra funds, they're able to do more than they originally could have. So I'm not gonna fault them for it, but at the same time, you're missing deadlines. So, like I said, having people that are used to meeting deadlines come in and doing collaborations with your other people can be beneficial. That's all I'm saying.
Right. I feel what
One-
you're saying.
one thing that I wanted to mention earlier when we were talking about the executives at the top. I would much prefer it if like Sarah Bond became the face of Xbox, because I think she's good with what she says and she doesn't say too much. I can appreciate how Phil Spencer is with the community, but sometimes he says too much and it ultimately comes back and bites him. And the problem with Jim Ryan is that he says too little, which is, problematic in his own way. You need to find the right balance of what you can and cannot say and when it is appropriate to say
I think
certain
he said a whole
things.
lot during this ABK deal. He said a whole lot. He got on his jet and he started talking to
Yeah.
everybody.
Right. But he's not talking when it's like when it's important, when there's other important situations going on.
He doesn't directly address the community. He
Yeah.
makes a statement that's a Sony blanket statement, but when something happens that's Sony or PlayStation related, especially if it's something bad, it's not usually Jim Ryan coming out. One thing you do have to respect about Phil Spencer is he comes out and he's like, "Hey," like Redfall, he came out immediately. We messed up
Owned
there.
up.
This is what we
Owned up.
messed up on.
Mhm.
Went straight up. Yeah, it's accountability with it. Now he gets paid good money, just like Jim Ryan does, but like gets paid good money to come out and do that though. But that is part of the charm. That's why I do respect that from Phil Spencer. Like he is a relatable CEO. He is the gamer CEO. He is the person that's in business that started as a gamer. That's his MO. That's that he connects to this community. That's why he gets the passes a lot of the times. He does apologize a lot. That's my own, like, that's where, again, it's just my concerns for the acquisition are that, they always say what they're going to do and they always have to apologize around October, November. It's been Phil Spencer every year, an apology,
Mhm.
This one came 6 months early. Now that he's apologized, said this is what we're going to do to change it. I still don't have the confidence that he can take on a big project like ABK and actually make it good, since he's already shown he's not doing well on companies he's previously bought that were already kind of doing well, Like Redfall was a huge fall through, and there was a lot that centered around that not doing well,
Mhm.
But
And Arcane traditionally puts out excellent games.
Yeah,
because of that,
Arcane
because of the
don't.
Redfall issue,
Yeah, but
Well, I
they don't
think
put out
it's
games like
to me it's a
Redfall
concern.
though. That's the thing. Like
Yeah.
Redfall was
Well,
a
the thing is,
completely different game than what they've done before.
and they didn't
Like
even want to
ever.
do it. They wanted
Yep.
they wanted Microsoft to cut that
Yeah.
project, but they kept it going. So even Arcane themselves, they were like, we don't want to do this crap.
But is it
Yeah.
but then
Well,
but
I'm
doesn't
not
that
putting it on Arcane. I'm putting it on Microsoft by coming in and saying, "Hey, stop your production of Sony. We're just simply doing this, changing everything up. This is still the deadline. We're going to do this," and then not doing anything, not pushing any resources that way. Then coming out with an apology in the last couple months, saying, "Hey, we did mess up. We're going to do better." But that does not automatically tell me, okay, then you should grab an acquisition that is a fourth of the gaming world. Let's be fair,
Yep.
Like literally, Blizzard's the
But
biggest like PC producer when it comes to producing games, and that paid games. Of course, Tencent and League of Legends and stuff are up there. But like when you see Blizzard, like you think Blizzard's like Overwatch, StarCraft, Diablo, Heroes of the Storm, like they have like their own niche gaming that when you hear World of Warcraft, of course, but like you're like, boom, they've got it, Activision, the biggest shooter out there, Fortnite's a great free to play shooter and stuff like that, but it is Call of Duty. They are able to make 64, 73 every year, and now more every year on a game that's literally like a Madden game. It's an update. There are new features, but it literally is an update on a shooter. And they're going to grab King, which of course owns the mobile gaming, while also kind of incorporating the cloud gaming. It's a big move. It is bigger than the buyout of Bethesda, of ZeniMax. It's a really big move. And while Hi-Fi Rush was great, and the model of letting them do their own thing and be creative was amazing, apparently saying, "Hey, we're going to do this to Arcane," and then not producing with it didn't do so well. So they're in the process of changing how they're doing things, which just doesn't, to me, tell me, "Oh man, this is in a pretty good spot if they grab it." if I'm proven wrong, and I'm down with that because it only benefits the community, you know,
and
if they
I
come
want
out
to
and
be
they actually
proven
do
wrong
really
too.
well. Yeah,
I want to be proven
I
wrong
would
too.
love that, you know, because I'm not saying they haven't proved me wrong before. I was against Starfield. I was against. I don't think Bethesda can make a clean cut game because they never do. You know, they make a game that's great story wise, but when it comes to development, when it comes to their engine and everything else, there's always some issues, some bugs. And it's a part of the aesthetic of it. A lot of people like it. I don't personally like all the bugs and stuff we have to deal with, and I certainly didn't like Fallout 76. But with Starfield and with a space exploration game, I'm pretty critical. It's like, hey, well, this better look pretty good. I play things like Elite Dangerous. You know, I play things that are just aesthetically amazing. They play flawlessly, you know. And I expect a star exploration game where you're saying it's going to be this big thing, you can do all these things. That's going to be just that because part of space exploration is supposed to be the aesthetic, especially for a hyper realistic game, you know. Um, but I will say I was a huge naysayer, and Brent can attest to this, until we saw that showcase. Watching the gameplay, watching what they're producing with it, so then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play this game. You know, I want to be a space cowboy. I'm not gonna say, oh, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I'm gonna say, okay, this is better than my expectations. So I'm
I
willing to do that as well here if they can
I
show it.
was
Go ahead,
I well I was definitely impressed with what I saw during the Starfield showcase before I blacked out. Um that was fun. We
Yeah,
played a
I mean, it
drinking
looked
game.
fantastic.
Isaac, what were you saying?
No, he's a space cowboy, and I did the Cowboy Bebop
Oh,
theme.
okay.
Bro, I mean, it is what it is, man. I saw
Um,
Space Cowboys, like, there it is. You know, 3, 2, 1, let's jam. Like, it's
Um,
gonna be fun.
so
Like, I look forward to it, so I'm willing.
I feel like I should clarify something, and this is going to sound really weird coming from me, but like, I really do hope that Xbox does well and can succeed. I will play video games everywhere. Like I play video games on my computer. I have a Series S here. I have a PlayStation 5. I want a reason to keep my PlayStation my Game Pass subscription. I am praying to Jesus that Starfield is fantastic. And I really do hope that things really work out. I'm just not a big fan of how they are going about creating their success. I feel like things should be earned through merit, and buying up a large amount of IPs in order to put yourself in a competitive into a competitive state. I don't particularly agree with. Okay, go ahead. All right, what do you got to say?
KP making a face.
Hey. They earned that money to buy them, all right? So what's the hate for? I go to work, I make money, I buy what I want. What's the
Okay,
issue?
but like, okay, so I'll go ahead and present you with sort of like an analogy, right? Has anybody here ever played sports in high
Yes.
school?
Yes.
Has anybody here ever played sports in high school?
Come on now.
Okay. All right. So, and you have to stay on the team, to stay on the sports team, you have to earn a specific GPA, right?
2.0, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And you when you earn that, you probably feel good about being on the team, right?
Depending on the day, but yes.
Okay. So how would you feel if someone who had like a 1.5 GPA, you know, bought his way onto the team with daddy's money?
Frank Sinatra
That's a
said it
hard
best.
question to answer.
No. Frank Sinatra said it best. That's life.
I got a good analogy
hard.
for
You
you.
have to understand. Myself and Ice come from the South. High school ball and college ball, two big things.
Yeah.
And in my high school,
Look,
football was more important than grades.
academics. Like
Honestly,
I had a guy
if
that
I
went.
wanted to win district, and you're telling me my star quarterback's a 1.5 and he bought it, I was like, but I do want to win district. You know, we got to
Yeah.
keep going. You know, it's like.
Yeah.
I do see your analogy though. It's like you don't want someone just to buy in that didn't earn it, especially if you were going for the same position. and you have done everything you need to do and you're comparable, but then suddenly this person buys in and gets it over you, it's like that's annoying, But I
I
will admit it's
mean,
kind of hard though. That analogy is hard in
I
Texas.
mean,
Like
kind of like Final Fantasy, right?
yeah.
Or like Crash Bandicoot, right?
Hey, where's Final Fantasy VII
Oh.
remake at? I haven't seen it on Xbox yet.
Or Tomb Raider, right?
Okay, so I will go ahead and use the argument that people use for Starfield. Starfield was never announced for PS5, nor was Final Fantasy VII Remake. It was never announced for Xbox, so you can't really use that argument. So KP, did you have something to say in regards to?
Yes.
But they allowed pre-orders for Final Fantasy VII on Xbox.
Did they really?
they did.
Yeah,
They had the
they
copies
had
shown.
There's a sticker.
I know that.
There was a sticker on the box.
yeah.
I need someone to
right
send
now.
that. I need someone to send that to
Because
me.
what's
Okay.
how I know? Because I pre-ordered it on Amazon.
Show them
You
the
pre-ordered-
receipt. Phil is Ryan's
But
daddy. Show them the receipt.
Did Square Enix ever
Throw it
announce
out.
it themselves? Did Square Enix ever announce it themselves?
They never shut. Hey, they let it be there. I mean,
Yeah.
GameStop had it. Best Buy had it. Someone had to release it. They didn't just pull it out.
Yeah, but the thing about GameStop and those pre-order outlets, the moment that a game is announced, you can walk in there and be like, I want to pre-order this game for this system, and they'll allow you to do it.
I mean, I can't go in there and be like, yo, I want Mario Odyssey on the Xbox.
Yeah, so I want to know if it was ever officially announced by the developers that it was going to be on Xbox. I want to see that. Okay, KP, go ahead.
Yeah. So I know we hear a lot of people complaining about Microsoft buying up these studios and publishers. So nobody complained when Sony was doing this to Sega. I mean, this same thing happened earlier in the 2000s and 90s. This same thing happened, but Sony did it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where Microsoft is like, we got to catch up. Let's buy them 8 at a time, right? It's no difference if, say, you got 5 cars in your driveway, and your neighbor is a car collector, right? And he has 2, and you're buying yours 1 at a time. He might go buy 5 at a time. I mean, it's just the scale of it is the only difference. Y'all buying the same amount, but he just getting them all at one time, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
It's just a scale difference.
That was my argument earlier. That's what I was saying earlier. Early on, Spyro Dragon, that wasn't no first party. Made by some Sony studio. Crash, the Tomb Raider. What was it? Tomb Raider 2, I believe it was. That's what I was saying earlier. Like it just seems a little bit of a double standard, or it's like maybe some people were just not aware, didn't realize, didn't know, or just kind of sweeping under the rug. But Sony been playing this game for a minute. It's just Microsoft is just finally punching with both hands now.
I don't know. I think it's hard
There's
to give
nothing wrong with either way.
I think it's hard to give excuses to a company who's been in the game for maybe 5 years or 6 years less than Sony has. They've been in the game for just a little over 20 years. And like they're just now realizing that like, oh, something's wrong, and they're trying to do so. I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me.
What changed was when Bill Gates left and Steve Ballmer left Microsoft. They got the new CEO, and he got on board with it. That's where the change came from. So he was like, I can't have you with a Microsoft name limping down there. So we're gonna flux y'all with all this money. Here's a bunch of money. Go get what you need to build this up, because y'all looking bad. And that's when the gates opened up. Minecraft came. All these studios started to come.
Yeah,
that's when
I have no
the
issue
tides
with
have
it, man.
changed.
I have no and I told you that before. Like when everybody brought up the Sony buyout blocking,
Right.
and of course how Sony first came into being, like you said, being cutthroat, as they would say. And of course what Microsoft's doing now. When it comes to walling off your games, like you have the right to do that. This is business. I don't
business.
like the morality of the business. You're
Either
asking
way,
what's right, wrong in a world about money, revenue, and deficit. Like I'm not all about that. When Sony goes and makes a contract with someone saying, "Yo, you're going to put it on our system and our system only, or you're not going to put it out over here," that's between two companies. They make the decision. They both sign. It's on them.
Right.
Like I said, my issue does not come from the practice of what they're doing with Starfield and Redfall and stuff like that. I said my only concern is they haven't shown me yet that they know how to plant the garden, or at least to maintain it. That's my
fair.
concern.
That's
And
fair.
that is where my concern is now for this acquisition.
Right. And
Sony
I
did
think
do these
like
things. They
I'm
also
sorry.
showcase that they can maintain a garden. Like they do really well with their IPs.
Right. And I
Microsoft
think
has yet to
they
show that
learn.
to me.
Yeah.
Good.
It's all, not to cut you off, sorry about that. But like you
No,
were
go ahead.
saying, yeah, they at a point where I think they're learning each studio. They know they don't have to go babysit and watch it. We don't have to go and babysit and watch playground games. Each studio they finding out is different, right? Who knew that they would have had to go and sit and babysit that arcane studio? Because if you look at their track record, they never had no issue and they delivered stellar games. So I
Yeah.
think it's just a base by base that they learning.
Okay.
You know what would be
Yeah.
dope though? You know what would be dope though? It's completely random, but this would be super dope.
Yeah.
So you know how would you guys agree like PS5, the Series X are kind of like slightly mid tier PCs?
Right.
Would
Yeah.
you all agree to that?
Haven't consoles always felt that way though?
No, dude. Xbox One was
No.
trash. Anyways,
What was that?
the Xbox
Xbox-
One, it chugged so hard.
Oh.
But
PS4
the reason
wasn't
I say
right
that
too
the
far.
reason I say that is because with this acquisition, if Xbox cared about console sales, this would be a smart play, in my opinion. And they'll also help with their Game Pass. What if, because they already allow keyboard support, right? For people that
Yep.
want to play Fortnite and whatnot.
Yeah, most games.
And like I said, it's kind of like a PC, right? Wouldn't it be kind of sick if they included WoW as a Game Pass thing and you could play WoW with keyboard and mouse on Xbox?
I think they're gonna push for that.
Because I remember being a young kid wanting to play WoW, but I never had the PC that could do
Me too.
that. And now you could get an Xbox for $500, shoot, or maybe even the Series S can run it. Depending on the settings or how they want to do it, and you could hop into WoW or any other games that Blizzard has. Like that would be kind of sick. Another thing that'd be kind of sick too. This is a pipe dream right here, but because you brought up Sega, and I was like, dude, how dope would it be if Microsoft somehow bought Sega, rebranded the Xbox as a Sega console in Japan,
And Sega got its revenge.
and
Golly.
and it's bundled with Persona? That would be.
And it'd be called a Dreamcast X.
Why not? Why not?
Sega's back. Sega comes back from the
Why
dead. Like,
not?
you remember me,
Why not?
Sony?
Like it'll be like instead of the green light, it's blue, or like black and blue. Oh my gosh, that made me feel aroused. But honestly, I hope they put WoW on Game Pass. That way people can play it through their console, because that'll not only help with Game Pass subscriptions.
Yes.
For sure, it's gonna help with console sales.
Yep. I could definitely see that. Especially what I can see them doing is transforming those WoW subscriptions into Game Pass subscriptions.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So
That-
basically, you're
I've
doing
thought
what you've
about
been doing, but now you have access to play other games if you wanted to.
And I think that, and that's one of those things that I think that is actually like a good thing for Xbox, is because Xbox has been like, they've been really wanting to get an MMO on their platform. So
Real quick, sorry,
They-
I gotta go.
oh,
I'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you very
Later,
much
man.
thank you
Nice
very
to
much
meet
for
you.
being
Nice to
here.
talk to you.
Vaughn at the end of it,
Yeah, me
some
and you.
blues for me. It'll be kind of sick. Trust me.
Thank
miss
for
you
being here,
already,
guys. I
guys.
appreciate it.
Miss you too, bro.
But yeah, so I honestly think that that would be a really cool thing to have on Game Pass. Would be wow. I'd probably start playing it again. But so with that being said, and with Isaac leaving, we have been talking for about an hour. I don't know how much longer any of you have, but if we want to start wrapping it up, I would like to pose a question to all four. I'd like to pose a question to, I guess all of us can think about would be, um, with this acquisition, what do you hope that Microsoft will bring to Game Pass that you can play through that service? So what do you hope that they do plan on putting? Because we don't know how they will handle Activision. I mean, my guess is that the intent is that they plan on putting all of their games onto Game Pass. I mean, that would be the huge draw. But what if there is some sort of stipulation in the purchase saying that not everything can go to Game Pass in order for this thing to in order for physical sales to make money? So, what do you hope will go to Game Pass through this acquisition?
Hoping to play Candy Crush.
Candy Crush.
No,
I
Not
can see
really.
that.
no, but seriously,
I can see
StarCraft.
that
It'll be
happening.
it'll be awesome to see both the revival and the older games, StarCraft 1 and 2, like a retro StarCraft play and StarCraft 2, especially a lot of their extra stuff. 'Cause I loved playing stuff like oh gosh, what was it, Mafia on StarCraft
Oh,
2? That was always fun. Just like random games they had going for it. It would be interesting to see a top 10 RTS, you know.
That yeah. Stevie Ray, your response.
I mean, I would like to see a lot of those iconic figures. I want to see, the crashes, the spirals, and I'm just really hoping it kind of steers away from your question, but kind of stays on track. That those Activision companies can kind of break away from the monotony of the Call of Duty
Mhm.
just regurgitating and bring back some of those IPs. And let's see those, those remakes of any banjos or I think Conquer. I don't know if Conquer would fit in this society now. I'm not sure. I think it'd be cool, but I don't know if it will
Oh,
go well with this
Yeah,
society
well,
now. But
Conker's Bad
Conquer's
Fur Day was my
Conquer's
first
canceling.
M-rated game that I've ever played, and it holds a special place in my heart. From I think at the age of like 10 or 11, I was playing that game with a buddy of mine, watching cows shit and throwing toilet papers into a massive thing, and then the multiplayer was a blast, just running around as teddy bears and squirrels shooting each other's heads off. It was fantastic. But no, yeah, I think I agree. I would like to see Microsoft essentially just utilize the IPs that they've purchased, because I mean, why not? You purchase them, you might as well use them.
Mhm.
KP, what do you got for me?
I'm piggybacking off all you all. I agree with you all. Of course, I want my COD in there. Save me
Sure.
$75. And I would like to see WoW, especially with controller support. I mean, get more people into it playing.
Mhm.
Um, get Diablos in there. I mean, of course, we won't have another one for another 10 years, but um,
Mhm.
get that in there and get more people playing these games. Get these studios fixed out and get rid of all the trash people that's in there. Um,
Yeah,
push a lot of. I would like to see Candy Crush on console. Some people like I don't want to
that's
play
what I'm
on my phone.
saying. I would
Yeah,
play it. I would play it.
yeah,
Like it is what it is. Like all right, we're doing it. You know.
yeah. I would like to see all that. I want everything connected. It's just my thing. I want it all
Yeah,
connected.
Simple
it's
run on console with my Elite controller.
I'm
Like
just I'm really curious just to see what how Microsoft kind of breaks into the mobile world now, because we have to kind of stream, all our games to a mobile that people that play on their phones.
Mhm.
It'd be kind of cool. Let's see what kind of like dedicated like hardware or software we have now that we can maybe like download games or whatever they plan to do. Now that we're not streaming, there's no latency, things like that. Can actually make controls based around a mobile phone, instead of just trying to like remap or something like that. I'm just kind of curious to see what that will look like going forward, how they're going to disrupt the mobile world.
I just hope that however they implement it, it will work. You know, I know that I don't. I know that I'm not a big fan of doing things through cloud, simply because depending on where you're at in the world, you may not have solid internet service, whether it be through the network or through Wi-Fi, whatever. I mean, I live in rural Kentucky. I have excellent Wi-Fi, but the network out here is trash. So it's not like I could, if I was without internet, there'd be no way for me to play my game. So, that is my biggest concern of cloud gaming right now. That is that, like, how will it be really now? Let me rephrase my statement here. It won't always be super good for everybody, but how will they make?
So you started bragging about his amazing internet. He's about to talk some mess about Microsoft.
No,
I'm kidding.
It looked like he took a big deep breath and got stuck.
We're losing you, Brent.
can't hear you,
We're
man.
losing. We can't hear you. You froze. Your awesome internet's failing you.
That's not okay. No, basically, like,
We got you back. We got you back.
I'm
Oh no, we lost him.
Uh-oh.
See, that's what I'm saying. Microsoft is here and is like, you know what? I'm done with it. Everybody toss it off. We want this.
Jim Ryan's mad at him. They cut him out.
Bro,
Jim Ryan started snitching.
I'm cool with this. Y'all have been amazing. I love like everybody's perspective on it. I do, like I said, I'm just an idealist, and my thing is, man, I just
my internet actually
We're back.
my internet actually went out. You guys weren't joking. Holy shit.
Yeah, look at the chat.
Cut it. Comcast,
Okay.
cut it.
I was sitting here, it's like they interrupt my train of thought, and it's something about internet, and then, like, you guys all froze up, and I was like, oh my god, is my internet going out?
Cloud gaming won't work, Brent.
Yeah.
I gotta clip that. And like make it as a short. Because that's hilarious. Basically what I was saying was that, like, I hope that however they structure it, it will be a solid experience for everybody, even though not everyone will have the best experience, if that makes any sense. So that's my hope for it. As for what I like, Isaac took mine. I hope that WoW goes on to Game Pass. I think WoW would be a huge selling point for Game Pass, and I think it would draw a lot of people to the platform. It would definitely have me playing. I used to play WoW all the time. I got really fat playing WoW. Good times. But with that being said,
one more thought when you're done.
What's that?
I just have one more thought. I just thought
Yeah,
about
go ahead.
Now I want to see a Microsoft Smash Bros. With all the different characters from all the first party companies.
All the different IPs they got.
Yeah, all different IPs.
Hey, Ray. All they got to do is contact Namco. That's what Nintendo did, right?
Oh, like, y'all don't want to see me be a menace on Switch and Xbox in a Smash. Like, bro.
Yo, you got Steve from Minecraft go against Master Chief fighting Banjo. Yo,
I mean,
that'd be kind of dope now that I think about it.
Yeah,
Marcus just come out there with a chainsaw.
I mean, yeah, dude. Go back. Sam Fisher hit some Splinter Cell. You got some like really huge Metal Gear knockoff. Like,
just
it'd be
see some
great.
Lamborghini just driving down the whole course, take them all out.
You stupid. Looking like a transformer, huh?
Yeah.
Hidden character, just Phil Spencer, and he's just calling IPs down. Like,
that's what I'm saying, man.
Money guns
in the back.
bro.
No, yeah. So before my internet cuts out again, I would like to go ahead and wrap this up, because that was scary. I was like really concerned that. But I want to say, and this to Isaac as well, if he's still around. Thank you everyone for being here. I know that we all share differences of opinions. However, with that being said, I value and respect everybody's opinion here. We can have heated discussions, but it's nice to be able to end up bringing it back in. We all want to play games. We all want the games to be good, and we all want it. We all want the money that we spend to be worth it, regardless of whether or not we're spending the $15 a month for Xbox Game Pass or a $70 full price game at launch. So thank you everyone for being here. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely,
thanks for having
man.
us. Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
yeah,
us.
and you guys are always welcome back. This was a surprise show simply because the decision came through this morning, and it was really important to me to have people on here with differences of opinion because Jeremiah and I have been discussing this topic a lot over the past 6-7 months, and it's mostly been us like not in favor of it. And I felt like it was really important to bring in people who are in favor of it, simply because like differences of perspectives and opinions is always really good. So to avoid an echo chamber. With that being said, Stevie Ray, where can we find you?
Dip Down Anime right now. We got pumping out the anime content. We can say that for another video. Working with KP to revamp the Dip Down games side of things as well, so we can kind of rework that. You can also find Amber there at Dip Down Anime as well.
Mm-hmm. Amber, we'll have to get you in here next time, but thank you for being in chat. KP, is there any place that we can find you?
Absolutely. You can find me on Dip Down Games with my man Stevie Ray Bands. Also, you can see me retweeting and sometimes tweeting on Twitter, and that's K55.
All right. I'll have to K55. I'll have to find you through Stevie Ray and add you.
Indeedo.
And then Jeremiah, where can we find you?
Come on, guys. We're Dude Let's Chat. We talk games, movies, and all things in between. You can catch us at that moniker on all of your podcasting platforms on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We just like to talk about anything and everything. Catch us for some of our Bleach reviews coming up, of course, and our ending for our platform preferences. We're just saying, screw the console wars. Just pick what you want to play and play it. I look forward to it, and of course, you find me on Work in Progress. I'm constantly over here. We're talking about different things.
And yeah, you can find me here at Work in Progress SLO. So that's Work in Progress SLO. So slow. We do a live show. Oh my God, am I cutting out again?
No, it bothered a little, but people out there need to hit that like button and the subscribe button.
Yeah.
Mad love in the chat tonight. Mad love in the chat tonight.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna get to that. So you can find us here, Work in Progress SLO. I do a live show every Saturday at 8:30 where we discuss all sorts of different topics, whether it be games, anime, or whatever. I do have my Final Fantasy 16 review coming out this weekend, which I'm really looking forward to putting out. And chat, thank you very much for being here. I know that I didn't get to address everybody's comments, but I'm glad that you guys had a nice discussion. Thank you everyone for being here. It's probably one of the most lively chats that I've had in a while. So thank you very much. And we will hopefully do this again. Hopefully we can all chill out over this for a while until the next big acquisition comes along. Yay!
Sony.
Was it Microsoft Sega 2024?
All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you, everyone. Chat, my guests. Thank you. And we will see you all on the next one.